Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and if you are new here, welcome to the channel. We are predicting and breaking down every single fight and all of the best fight card moments in UFC Fight Night. Renato Moicano versus Benoit Saint Denis, fighting out of his home turf in France. This is going to be a redemption for him. He's honestly got to get this one done against Moicano, and there's no better opponent for him to bounce back from Dustin Poirier. And not only that fight, we have got Brendan Allen versus Nassourdine Imavov, without a doubt title eliminator in middleweight, and then we have got underrated fighters all over the shop on this fight night. I mean, we've got William Gomis, we've got Joanderson Brito, we've got Morgan Charriere, we have got Kevin Jousset, we have got Bryan Battle, we have got so many fighters. That's just on the main card alone, so this is definitely not going to disappoint, and honestly, I am very keen for this fight card, so let's definitely get into this one. First fight of the night, we have Nora Cornolle versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. Now, Cavalcanti is definitely looking good in the UFC so far. She is very active. She fought Josiane Nunes last. She looked very good in that fight. She just fights very good at range, uses her leg kicks very well, teeps very well, just really sticks along the outside consistently. Very similar to like Chris Gutierrez in the way he kind of fights too. Just using her feet, using her legs to really, dictate the pace. She doesn't use boxing that much. Whereas when we look at Nora Cornolle is honestly probably one of the most underrated fighters in the division. And funny I say that because she is in my most underrated fighters in every division video, which I definitely recommend you check that one out. We don't only have Nora Cornolle from that, we have two other fighters from that video just on this card. We have Joanderson Brito and we have Bryan Battle, who I go through a complete analysis of all three of them in that video, but we'll obviously go through a bit more of those guys when we get to their fights. But looking at Nora Cornolle, she is definitely confident moving into this fight. She's on a pretty heavy win streak at the moment, and she is just very powerful in the octagon. She gives a very big presence, very good presence. She's 34 now, so she doesn't have a lot of time, but when it comes to her striking acumen, she's got very good Muay Thai. She uses very good front kicks, and her elbows and knees in the clinch are very good. I mean, in her last fight when she fought Mullins, she absolutely folded her with a knee to the body and then just pieced her up on the ground. So yeah, Nora Cornolle, definitely on the aggressive side of things, is very dangerous, and that's something that Cavalcanti has to look out for. But that being said, Cavalcanti is definitely one of the most underrated fighters in the division as well, without a doubt, because she is consistent, she keeps winning, she definitely utilizes a very good volume in her striking. She's good at actually, mixing up her game, to be fair. She's got good takedown defense as well, which Nora Cornolle I don't think is going to be the type of fighter to make it go there. But Cavalcanti, if she is the aggressor, Cornolle doesn't have the greatest takedown defense, and Cavalcanti is someone that I'm going to prefer on the ground, to be honest. And I will say with this fight, Cornolle is the more powerful, but Cavalcanti has the better gas tank. Cornolle has an issue of gassing later in the fight because of her pure aggression. But that being said, she is good with her striking accuracy. She doesn't have much of an issue when it comes to landing good shots, because a lot of the time, bantamweight fighters in the female division just don't have very good head movement at all, to be honest. So Nora Cornolle, she gets the advantage there. But Cavalcanti, you can't count her out because she is very good on the outside. She's very good at moving in general. Not necessarily head movement, she's just very good with her actual linear and lateral movement. Now, Cavalcanti, I will say on the outside, I think her moving backwards and Cornolle being the aggressor, Cornolle's just not going to dog walk her. Cavalcanti is very good on the outside, using the leg kicks. I think that'll be an issue for Cornolle coming in the later the fight goes on. But I just think that Cornolle's damage, I just think the power in her shots is better than Cavalcanti's. She just lands at a better clip, and Cavalcanti isn't going to be threatening too much on the ground. And Cornolle fighting just, bigger fighters as well. She's fought Jocelyn Edwards, and she got the better of her, the more powerful shots in those exchanges. I do feel like if Cavalcanti isn't switched on for the whole 15 minutes and can really, not avoid those shots, I see Nora Cornolle getting this one done, and I think it'll be a 29-28 decision, and I think that damage will really come through in the first and second round. I think Cavalcanti will do a very good job of, outmatching the gas tank towards the third round, but Cornolle, with the pressure, the strength, and the power, I just think that the first 2 rounds are gonna be the difference for her to win this fight. Moving up the card to Chris Duncan versus Bolaji Oki. Now, this is an interesting fight for me because of the odds. I think that Chris Duncan shouldn't be an underdog. I don't think he should be a favorite. I honestly think that this should be a pick'em, because Bolaji Oki, he has the momentum behind him. He's got very good KO power. He's 5-0 with KOs. He's got a very good jab. His jab is his best weapon by far, and he's just very good at dictating pace with that, whether it's on the back foot, whether it's on the front foot. And when he's on the back foot, he's got pretty good counter striking as well. But with Chris Duncan, he just has a lot more experience. He's just got better caliber of experience. I mean, he's just had better success against better opposition, and he is very fast, very aggressive with his striking, very clean boxing. And I think he's someone that can overwhelm Oki. Now, Oki has the 2-inch reach advantage here, which is going to be massive in playing into his style if he can get his jab off early. But like Oki, I just don't think the opposition that he's fought is just enough to tell that he is a favorite here. I mean, he had a pretty competitive split decision win against Kwamba, and Kwamba dog walked him on the ground. I mean, Oki has very bad transitional awareness on the ground, and someone like Duncan, who is explosive, that can mix up his game well, can expose that. Now, Chris Duncan, fighting that better opposition. I mean, he's fought Yanal Ashmouz, who is a very good striker, on par, probably better than Oki, to be honest, in the striking department. And he took out Charlie Campbell on Dana White's Contender Series. Both these guys beat Trevor Peek. Trevor Peek is just a bomb-throwing absolute killer. So it does speak volume there. Chris Duncan has fought a lot of good opposition in the time that he has been in the UFC. And he does show a lot of heart. He's got a lot of he's got very good recovery, because when he fought Charlie Campbell dropped him on his ass. He got straight back up, stayed composed, and then knocked him out. So Duncan is very dangerous overall. He's very good he's got very good clean striking. He's got very good head movement, just like very natural, clean boxer. And he's just got more tools overall than Oki does. He covers his distance extremely well. He just is very good at cutting off the reach advantage of fighters, and that's where Oki really needs that advantage. And I feel like if Duncan is someone that can really dictate the pace, get aggressive, use a lot of head movement, rip the legs of Oki to break down his posture, his stature, and then set up bombs, then that is where Oki is in a lot of trouble. And not only that, Duncan going in for the double leg takedowns. If Oki gets on the ground and he doesn't get back up, it's not looking good. It's really not looking good, because Oki is one-dimensional. And Duncan, the momentum's off him because he's lost to Manuel Torres. And Manuel Torres obviously got destroyed by Bahamondes, but Torres before that was on a 3-fight finish streak, all in the first round in the UFC. So the caliber of opposition there just is very, very different. And I honestly just see Duncan being able to really put those combinations together, show that veteran in him in terms of their UFC experience overall, and I think that he is going to be able to pull through with a unanimous decision win. I think Oki, he could possibly get off in the first round pretty well with the jab, but then I think Duncan just makes it too dirty, and he gets this one done by a decision as a good underdog pick win. Moving up the card, Victor Altamirano versus Daniel Barez. Now, you look at Daniel Barez, he's 35 years old, he's at flyweight. You probably think, okay, his time's passing. He's probably going to be a bit slower, and having the 4-inch reach disadvantage in this fight is just going to be a recipe for disaster. I don't think that's true, to be honest, because Barez, he is a favorite for a reason, and I'm honestly sticking with that. I think that's fair. He's got very good striking. He's very fast-paced, and he's very composed at the same time. And that's thanks to his footwork and his distance management when he fights on the feet. He's very, very good at just mixing up combinations. Very nice rip to the body with the left hook. He showed that very well against Filho, was piecing him up, was going downstairs, upstairs, just mixing three-piece combinations very well. Had him in a lot of trouble until obviously he got submitted. You know, Filho dug deep and got it there, which Barez does have an issue in terms of the submission defense. His transitional capabilities when someone is offensive against him on the ground is the hole in his game. Whereas when we look at Victor Altamirano, he is the guy that has the submissions there. That's his most confident part of his game. He's 4-1 with submissions. But I think Barez is striking on the feet. I just think that footwork, the distance management is just going to be a bit too much for Altamirano overall. And Altamirano, he does have power there, and he does throw some pretty heavy shots. He likes head kicks. He likes everything like that. But Barez, honestly, he's got a chin. Like, he fought Carlos Hernandez on Dana White's Contender Series and got hit with 2 clean flying knees to the chin. And it didn't even phase him, really. It barely even sunk him. He barely dropped it all. It kind of woke him up, to be honest. And Barez as well, on top of that, if Altamirano is being over excessive with those heavy shots, Barez has good takedowns. He has very good takedowns, and he's good offensively on the ground. It's just the defense itself. So that's where I think he can actually mix that up and keep Altamirano guessing and make him complacent, because he threats with that takedown offensive game. Now, when it comes to the ground game on the bottom, obviously he got swamped by Filho, which is where that issue is. Now that's, I think, honestly, is probably the only place where Altamirano is actually going to be able to win this fight. Altamirano is like a Tasmanian devil. He's very fast, he's like scrappy, and he's got pretty good consistent pressure as well. And in his last fight, he got robbed by Buddy Dos Santos very badly. So he will have the chip on his shoulder, I think. I think he'll have that chip on his shoulder. He'll be really want to get in there and make it dirty, make it scrappy, which he needs to do against a guy like Barez. He honestly does, because Barez is a lot more technical than him. But that difference in technical striking overall, and especially with the distance management in contrast, I've got Barez edging this one by a 29-28 decision. I think Altamirano might be able to get the second round off some ground control. I think when Barez is really finding some success with his striking combinations in the first round, I think that's when Altamirano is going to be like, okay, I need to change up my game. Gets the ground control, lands some good shots there. But then I think Barez comes back through the third round and just really makes sure his takedown defense is on lock, and then just lands the better shots overall to get that 29-28 unanimous decision win. Moving up the card to Taylor Lapilus versus Vince Morales. Now, Lapilus is the fighter here that has stayed on the card. Vince Morales is a short notice replacement, and that's going to be an issue. Lapilus, even if he had a full camp, Morales, I think Lapilus is going to win this, to be honest. Lapilus is just very good with his striking. He's just very, very good as a point fighter. He's one of those tricky ones in that division who has a very, very long reach for that weight class. 73 inches at bantamweight 135. That's dangerous, especially with a guy that can utilize it so well. And that's where I think Lapilus is just going to be a bit of a nightmare for Morales, who doesn't have great head movement overall. And that being said, you can't count Morales out completely. I mean, he's fought very good competition in his last UFC stint. So he's already left the UFC, and he's gone on a very, very good win streak, very active win streak in the last 2 to 3 years. He's gone 5-0 since leaving the UFC, just ransacking people on the regional scene. So he definitely belongs in the UFC, but I think that's where the ceiling really becomes apparent for him. So in his last UFC stint, though, I mean, he fought Song Yadong, he fought Ayman Sahabi, he fought Chris Gutierrez as well, and he even fought guys like KO power artists like Miles Johns, who he took to a decision and frustrated him. And he fought Jonathan Martinez as well, who's just fought Jose Aldo. So Morales definitely has the experience over Lapilus, don't get me wrong. But Lapilus is a guy that's just much better in terms of being on the feet, and he's got the takedown defense along with it, especially after losing to the Basharat brother, Farid Basharat. After getting ransacked by him on the ground, I think Lapilus, that's just a wake-up call for him, and Morales just doesn't have the capabilities of doing the same thing. Now, Morales, I will say, like, the takedown defense is good, but it's not going to be utilized. He's got a pretty nice jab. Lapilus has got longer range. And like he's taken out guys like Smolka. Like, he took Smolka out very badly, like Louis Smolka, but aside from that, you know, there isn't really much in terms of wins for him. He's lost to all the names I mentioned before, he lost to. And yeah, Morales, he's just got that ceiling in the UFC, you know. He's very good on the regional scene against those type of fighters, but Lapilus is a guy that belongs in the UFC. He's had a full training camp, and he's fighting in France. I just don't really see this one going Morales' way, to be honest. And yeah, the only way Morales is going to win is if he drowns out Lapilus on the ground, but I just don't see him having that takedown offensive capability to get Lapilus there, unless he somehow hurts him, but I just really don't see it happening. And yeah, the reach advantage for Lapilus, I think that he is just going to be someone that's really going to be able to dictate the pace from the jump, and I think with that strike accuracy beating Morales overall statistically, I think it's just a recipe to get a very dominant 30-27 unanimous decision win for him. Moving up the card to Ailin Perez versus Daria Zhelezniakova. Now, I'm going to be pretty honest with this. I think this is probably my most confident pick of this card. I'm going Ailin Perez by a sub, and honestly, I just think that Ailin Perez is going to expose the horrible ground game of Zhelezniakova pretty badly. Daria's got pretty good kickboxing, don't get me wrong. If it's on the feet, Perez is going to be in a bit of trouble, I do think. Daria's got power. She's accurate with her striking as well. But her fight IQ overall is not good, and Perez has just got the better one. And when it comes to women's MMA, usually who has a better fight IQ, we're really just going to be seeing them win, to be honest. There's not really any Hail Mary shots or anything like that. And also, as a side note, you're probably wondering why this fight is actually on this card. And Zhelezniakova actually trains with Fernand Lopez, who's Cyril Gane's head coach. So she actually does train a fair bit out of France and partly represents them. So that's why they actually made this for this card. But yeah, I don't see a way that Zhelezniakova is really getting this done if Perez is going to be able to utilize that ground game. And Perez that's the best part of her game. I mean, she's very good with her grappling. She's very good transitionally, and in combination with that, she's very strong. And Ailin Perez getting Zhelezniakova to the ground, even though she's only got one submission, I think that this is just going to be another one to be. I think this is a perfect opportunity for Perez. I think Perez is smart enough to make sure that she is not going to be on the feet all the time against Daria, especially in those opening rounds. And yeah, I honestly just do feel like she's going to get this one in round 1 or 2 by submission. Now, Zhelezniakova, though, I will say, she's very good at pump faking. She's very good at, you know, putting the opposition into a false sense of security when she is going to land her strikes. That's why she's very accurate. And if she can get her boxing combinations off and, you know, keeps a good takedown defense, she does throw in good whizzes. But I think in the 15 minutes, Perez is going to find at least one opportunity to get her down. And I think if Perez is getting Zhelezniakova down, I don't see her getting back up. So that's where I'm seeing Ailin Perez get that submission probably in the second round here. And yeah, I think that she'll land some good damage. I think Daria will then fold. I think she'll give up her back. And then, yeah, Perez will just find that rear naked choke opportunity. Moving up the card, Ludovit Klein versus Roosevelt Roberts. Ludovit Klein is, without a doubt, the dark horse of that whole entire lightweight division. I honestly do partially regret putting Nasrat Haqparast in my upcoming, you know, underrated fighters. I will say that Ludovit Klein probably was the choice to make. And it's for obvious reason, you know. Klein is, without a doubt, going to make it into the top 15. He is extremely well-rounded. He does not, honestly, he doesn't really have a weakness in his game. He's like a, kind of like a Islam Makhachev on Wish, to be honest. He is very good. He's very good. He's 29 years old. He's got time. He's 20th ranked, approximately around there. So he is going to be getting through. And Roosevelt Roberts, I feel sorry for this guy, man. Honestly, he's been on death row. He's lost 2 in a row, coming back into the UFC, and he got decapitated by Bahamondes, who Ludovit Klein beat as well. So that's just putting more punishment into it. And Klein, honestly, I think he's just got too much for him absolutely everywhere. Roberts might have a decent opportunity on the feet with, the range and the height, just using that length, but I just don't think he's skilled enough to go against Ludovit Klein. I think Ludovit Klein is someone that can really take this anywhere. He can either outbox him on the feet, or he can seriously just double leg him, take him down, and just wrestle fuck him the whole entire time. Ludovit isn't like an upgraded Roosevelt Roberts. I mean, he's got no holes. I mean, he's got great boxing. He's got very good timing. His strike speed's very good. Takedown entries are accurate. His control time's very good. His statistics overall are just all in the green. He's very, very clean with the statistics. There's not many flaws we can really point out here, and honestly, this could go any way. So honestly, don't pick this as a specific prediction, but because it could go submission, it could go KO, but I think Ludovit Klein is just that dominant. I think that he is going to find a very clean KO finish in this one, just with a nice 3-piece combination: rip to the body, go upstairs, Max Holloway style against Gaethje, clean him up with the hook, and then just pound him out. And moving up the card, Da Woon Jung versus Oumar Sy. Now, just like Ludovit Klein, I am taking Oumar Sy in this one. Honestly, he is, without a doubt, one of the most serious threats coming through the rankings in that light heavyweight division. He has got an insane physical presence. I mean, they are the same height, but the guy has got a 4.5-inch reach advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage in the legs too. So when it comes to striking, he can completely put Da Woon Jung out of range. And honestly, similar to Klein, Oumar Sy can just choose where this goes. He can get the KO, he can get the submission, he can get a decision if he wants. He's very well rounded. He's undefeated. He's 4-0 with KOs, 4-0 with submissions, 2-0 with decisions, as you can see on the screen. And yeah, he's just ragdolled pretty much everyone on the regional scene, and coming in against Tukos Tokos, he absolutely took him out with a rear naked choke, and that choke was in for about 1 millisecond. So he's got very much like a vice grip with his submissions, and I think that that's where this is going to go. I think he is going to get a submission on Da Woon Jung. Da Woon Jung, he's got the experience, and he's very durable as well. That's why I'm even more preferable for the submission for Oumar Sy. Ultimately, Da Woon Jung, he's not great on the ground, but he is very durable. He's got a chin. He does take damage. He relies on that durability too much. But yeah, the ground game is where he's going to get swamped. Oumar Sy has very good takedown entries. He's got 4 rear naked chokes as well. And yeah, ultimately, this is going to be his 5th. And moving on to our feature prelim, Ion Cutelaba versus Ivan Erslan. Now, we all know Cutelaba and his insane fights with, just throwing the fucking kitchen sink at anyone that bloody moves at him, and his very low fight IQ. But Ivan Erslan is someone that is going to implore that. He is going to be someone that is going to allow that to happen. He's very aggressive, he's got power, and he's definitely got more momentum than Cutelaba, that's for sure. I mean, Cutelaba is like fucking borderline Johnny Walker, just getting taken out all over the shop. And Ivan Erslan, he's an underdog in this fight, and I'm taking him in this fight. I think he's going to do some damage. He's like kind of like a Mirko Krokop from AliExpress. He's without the kicks, he's got very good boxing, and he's obviously Croatian. That's where I was getting at. But I'm going to say Ivan Erslan, he's just a bit more technical with the striking overall, and I think that Cutelaba just really needs to utilize a heavy Greco-Roman wrestling game, because he's got a Greco-Roman base, and the issue is he just doesn't use it enough. He used a lot on the regional scene. That's where he got the success to get into the UFC, but since he's been in the UFC, he's not used the Greco-Roman base, and he's been so over-aggressive, and he just gets chinned, and he gets submitted. And that's just why it's just halted his growth altogether. I mean, he's still young, he's still 30, but, you know, taking that much damage is going to shorten his career. And Ivan Ursulin is someone that's going to shorten it even more. Because if I'm going to trust between, you know, either of their chins in an exchange, Ursulin's is the one I'm going to be trusting here. And Cutelaba, look, if Cutelaba can maintain patience and then honestly just get through and then take him down, then there's 100% a possibility. If he makes himself fight like he did against Linz in his last fight in the first 2 rounds, then we could be looking good there. But Ursulin is a guy I think that is just too technical. He's ready for this moment as well. 10-1 with KOs. And I think he's just got better fight IQ, better striking combinations as well than Cutelaba. He's looked pretty good on the regional scene. And he's only lost to guys that are very, very technical in terms of that regional scene experience. So I just don't see him losing this fight. And I think this is a good underdog pick. I think Ursulin is probably honestly going to get the KO in the second round. I think it's going to be pretty brutal, probably a ground and pound finish. Because the boxing's just too... I think the boxing's just better. And I think Ion Cutelaba will maintain, you know, just maintain his, you know, his stature. He won't actually go in and just, you know, throw the kitchen sink and get knocked out or get submitted or whatever straight off the bat. I think he will maintain composure in the first round, kind of get his reads. And then the second round, he'll go absolutely insane. And then Ivan Ursulin will chin him. And moving on to the main card, we have got good fight after good fight after good fight. Without a doubt, more than fight night worthy. We have got Matt Frevola versus Fares Ziam. Now, if we're looking at the striking department, I'm giving it to Fares Ziam. I mean, he's definitely more technical. And I will say overall, with that reach, that's going to be a bit of a nightmare for Frevola if Ziam really gets things going, gets his momentum going, gets confident in his game. But as we all know, Frevola definitely has the KO power on his side. I mean, he absolutely chinned Drew Dober. He's very powerful as well. Took Benoit Saint Denis down hard when they fought, and BSD is a guy that is very strong himself, as we all know. I'll say Ziam does have the momentum over Frevola. I mean, he's won his last 3 fights, and then we have Frevola, who got brutally taken out by Benoit Saint Denis. Now, if that's going to occur in this fight, that's a different story, because Frevola has fought a lot better opposition than Ziam. It's very similar to Duncan and Oki. I think that Frevola is someone that, you know, he has that experience there, and I think it's very, you know, a lot of this is dictated off just their last performance. Obviously, he got chinned. He got head kicked straight, his head clean off by Benoit Saint Denis. But I think Matt Frevola can get this one done, and I think it's going to be his revenge story in France. And I think he's going to make it messy and get it to the ground. I think he's going to be able to really bully Ziam in those tight exchanges, like those clinch exchanges, in the grappling. I think Frevola being that strong, having decent wrestling as well, I just think that strength is going to be the thing that's really going to take this fight for him. I think it's going to edge it. Now, if Ziam can really dig in whizzes, you know, dig in the underhook to really stop Frevola, then there's a possibility. But I think Frevola is honestly just going to go straight through and double leg him, especially if Ziam remains, you know, gets complacent on the feet, which he has done in his past fights, and he's got caught for it as well, and then obviously dropped and then submitted. So that's where I think with Frevola, fighting guys like Drew Dober, fighting guys like Benoit Saint Denis, even though he's coming off a loss, you just can't deny the caliber of opposition he's faced and how good he has looked. Now, Ziam, if he keeps on the feet, I'm favouring him more, but in the 15 minutes, Frevola is going to get this to the ground, and I think that he'll get it to the ground, he'll tee off on Ziam, and then I think just like Zhelezniakova, I think that he will be able to make Ziam turn, give up his back, and then I think Frevola will be able to find that submission win. And I think it's going to be anywhere. I think it's going to be in the first round, because Frevola is going to be more fresh. He's going to have the takedowns there. His strength is going to be up, and I think that that's where he can really get it done. Moving up the card, Morgan Charriere versus Gabriel Miranda. Now, these guys do have a pretty big contrast in styles, as you can see on the screen. We have Morgan Charriere got 11-0 with KOs, and then Gabriel Miranda, who is 16-0 with submissions. Now, Miranda, obviously, the submission threat there looked very decent, honestly, even against Benoit Saint Denis when he fought him in the first round. He was combating Benoit very well on the ground, and Benoit is very dangerous on the ground. So, you know, it does paint a picture there, but his weakness is the technical striking and his striking defense overall, because when he fought Benoit Saint Denis, he left his chin so wide open in the exchanges. And doing that against a guy like Morgan Charriere, who is more technical on the feet than Benoit Saint Denis, aside from obviously the kicks. Actually, to be honest, I probably would say the kicks as well. Morgan Charriere's kicks are fantastic, but his boxing is definitely more clean than Benoit Saint Denis. And if he can really carry that through, it is going to be a nightmare on the feet for Gabriel Miranda. Charriere has extremely good kickboxing. He uses very brutal roundhouse kicks, like roundhouse kicks to the body, front kicks to the body, just really likes to cut down the opposition. I mean, you look at his fight against Cecchini in his debut, he absolutely tore his body apart, and that's all he needed to do because it was so devastating. He just dropped him completely, and yeah, the fight was done from there. Now, Charriere, I will say, obviously, if he does go to the ground, there is a chance he can get submitted, without a doubt. Miranda is very slick with his transitions, especially to getting to the back. But Morgan Charriere, having that fight against Chepe Mariscal, and Chepe Mariscal is like a Tasmanian devil, he showed very good scrambling capabilities and takedown defense, which is, if he is stuffing Miranda's shots early, Charriere is going to destroy him later in the fight, without a doubt. And that's where I think Charriere is he's gonna get it done. I think Charriere is honestly going to TKO the shit out of this guy. I think Miranda, if he doesn't get a submission in the first round and Charriere gets his reads and finds his range, especially in that kickboxing range, no. Charriere is going to get this one done. And honestly, I just think he's got the takedown defense to honestly keep this on the feet. I just don't see him being able to do it. Gabriel Miranda is probably a bit, emphasized from choking out Shane Young in less than a minute at UFC 293, which emphasizes he's got good submissions, but the caliber of fighter between Shane Young and Morgan Charriere is not close. Morgan Charriere is definitely a better fighter there, and yeah, I just don't see Miranda ultimately being afforded the opportunity to get that submission against a guy that has the strike speed, that has the accuracy, that has the scrambling capability, that has the takedown defense, and of course the KO power of Morgan Charriere. So yeah, I'm pretty confident that Charriere is going to really kick off the first round with the body kicks, the leg kicks. I think that's just going to pay dividends into his fight, and then I think by the end of the second to the third round, I think he is just going to take him out. He's going to completely overwhelm him and get the ground and pound TKO finish from there. Moving up the card, Bryan Battle versus Kevin Jousset. Now, Bryan Battle, obviously one of the fighters that I listed in my most underrated fighters in every division video, and for good reason. Bryan Battle is a very physically dominant threat. He's got very good submissions, very good transitional capabilities, very strong, heavy fighter for welterweight. He's very dangerous. Finishes most of his fights in the first 2 rounds as well. So he's definitely got that threat there. Now, that being said, with him being in my underrated fighters video, crazy take, but I'm going to be taking Kevin Jousset in this fight, because Jousset, he's on a 5-fight win streak, and I think with his momentum, but I think with his striking style specifically, I think this is the style to give Bryan Battle the problems. I mean, Kevin Jousset is very clean with his striking. He's got very good leg kicks, very good body kicks, fights very well in the clinch, and even has the judo threat there as well. So he's just very good at all ranges. But similar to Lapilus, he's just got a very good consistent jab. Very good consistent jab. Has got, he's got less reach, but he can utilize his reach better than Bryan Battle can on the feet overall. And Kevin Jousset, being someone that has very snappy jabs against Bryan Battle, who doesn't have the greatest head movement, I think that's where Jousset is going to be able to honestly just edge this. It's a very close fight. Battle gets this to the ground in the spots that he wants and really starts bullying Jousset. That's where Battle could easily run away with this fight. But you can't take away from Kevin Jousset and the experience he's had. I mean, he's fought JDM, and he lost to JDM, got a doctor's stoppage and got called for a cut, which was way back on the regional scene, and he lost by a split decision. So he's barely had any losses, any like real losses, and he's had a lot of momentum on his side. He's looked fantastic in the UFC so far. Funnily enough, he's actually the first UFC fight I actually watched live, and yeah, did not disappoint. And yeah, Kevin Jousset, honestly, I just think that he can expose those minor weaknesses of Bryan Battle in this fight. He's just got the composure. He's very similar technical kickboxer to Israel Adesanya, utilizing the jab well, using the leg kicks very effectively too, and then obviously just adding the judo on top of it, which is great for him. But yeah, I do think that striking capability, with him being on, they've both got to be on for 15 minutes, but obviously thinking that they are, I think Kevin Jousset is the one that's going to be able to edge the decision just out of pure volume in this fight. Bryan Battle, he's not going to KO Jousset. I'd be very, very surprised if he did so. Could submit Jousset, possibly. But yeah, I don't think Jousset is going to be able to take the necessary risk to take out Bryan Battle either. So yeah, I do see a decision either way for either of these guys. But yeah, I'm just swinging it Kevin Jousset's way. Moving up the card, Joanderson Brito versus William Gomis. This fight is sick. It's going to be good. I am very keen for this fight because we have got two of the hottest prospects coming through featherweight. Joanderson Brito, an absolute fucking killer. This guy, 8-1, 7-1 with finishes. He is a destroyer. This guy is just like a rabid bulldog. Very strong. Got very, very scary submissions. Ninja chokes. He's just got pretty much submissions all over the shop. Very good with chokes in general. And he's got the KO power to back it up as well. When he gets in close and lets his hands go with that strike speed, very, very dangerous. And then we've got William Gomis, who is easily one of the most technical kickboxers at the 145-pound division, without a doubt, at least outside the rankings. And I'm honestly going to say he's honestly on par with some of the guys in the rankings as well, in terms of just that pure striking acumen. And the statistics just speak for themselves. I mean, 7-0 with KOs for him because he's so clean, so accurate with that striking. Fights southpaw as well, so he just does offer a lot of challenges while being so precise. And the jab is a huge issue with him. He's very good with the jab. He's got the reach advantage here. Might be small, but can definitely make it count, similar to Oki versus Duncan. Can definitely make even 1 inch of reach count. Now, he's not like a high output fighter, but he does pick his shots extremely well. He just can't have another weight cut like UFC 301 like he did when he was supposed to fight Gene Silver. Otherwise, I'd say that Joanderson Brito is going to finish him in the first 30 seconds, without a doubt. That was a horrible weight cut. But I think either way, I think Joanderson Brito is going to win this. I had him in my underrated fighters in every division video very clearly for a very clear reason. I mean, I don't really need to get into this so much with him because he is just a killer. I've said it already. He's got the offensive threats everywhere. He's on the ground, on the feet. He's got the KO power. The guillotines are there. Covers distance very well at the flurries. And I just don't see him giving William Gomis the ability to breathe in this fight, to really collect himself and make sure that he can get off a slow-paced game. Brito is not going to allow this to be slow-paced, and Gomis is the guy that dictates a slow pace. And the key, honestly, in this fight, with obviously being in the flurries and everything like that, Brito just suffocating Gomis, similar to Frivola, Brito's pure raw strength, I think, is going to be the difference in this, to really take advantage of the clinch exchanges and the grappling on the ground as well. And I think he's just going to show Gomis like he's never fought someone as explosive as him. And if William Gomis was able to fight someone like Gene Silva and then fight Brito, then there'd be a lot more confidence there. But yeah, he's never fought someone that is as savage as Brito, just in all areas of the game. Brito is more well-rounded than him as well. And honestly, pretty much outside of the rankings, when it comes to William Gomis, I'm pretty much taking him winning against anyone. Except guys like Joanderson Brito and Gene Silva. They're probably like the only two that I can really think of off the top of my head that I'd be like, no. And yeah, that being said, I think Joanderson Brito is going to win this. He's 17th ranked now. For the love of God, get him a ranked fight after he wins this one. I do think that Brito does have the opportunity there to possibly get a submission win in this fight if he can get Gomis down and find the right positions. But Gomis is very good under pressure. Very good under pressure, doesn't really let the moment get to him, especially in those transitions on the ground. Whenever people can actually get him there, that's another story. It's very difficult. But Brito is a guy that can. He's got the aggression, he's got power, he's got very good takedowns. And yeah, I think that he's going to be able to get Gomis there, but I think Gomis is going to be able to hold out to lose by a 29-28 decision. I think that Gomis will get at least one round in there where those jabs and that kickboxing range is going to come around. Possibly, honestly, probably the first round. I think Brito will start a little bit slower, and Gomis is going to be aware of that power. And then Brito in the second and third round, he's going to be taking it. And moving on to the co-main event, we have Nassourdine Imavov versus Brendan Allen. Definitely a title eliminator in this one to give some fresh blood into that title challenger. You know, just really just giving it some fresh new eyes. I mean, we've had Adesanya dominating there for so long. I mean, we've had Sean Strickland up there. Dricus is obviously the new face. And I think just having this new wave of fighters between Imavov, between Brendan Allen, between Caio Borralho, between Anthony Hernandez, Michel Pereira, these guys are the new wave, because they're all pretty much early 30s or younger than 30. So yeah, this is a very big impact for the middleweight division, the outcome of this fight. Now, Nassourdine Imavov, this guy definitely has the striking advantage here. Brendan Allen, it's just a clash of styles. Brendan Allen, without a doubt, is a better grappler, 14-1 with submissions. Without a doubt, one of, if not the best grappler in the whole division, probably along with Dricus du Plessis. I'll say that, but Nassourdine Imavov is a guy that's just naturally more well-rounded than Brendan Allen, and I think his composure across 5 rounds is very good, and him being able to capture that in 3, I think that's just going to do just better for him, to be honest. I think Nassourdine Imavov, you look at him and his striking statistics, he's just better on the feet, he's got better boxing, he lands at a better clip. They've got the same reach, but Nassourdine Imavov's leg reach is definitely longer, and that's where I think obviously he uses the boxing very well, but I think that he can really keep Brendan Allen at bay, using teep kicks, keeping him at range, and just making him feel like a fish out of water. Imavov is very similar to Sean Strickland in the way he fights, much more of a composed kind of point fighting style. And we saw what happened the last time Brendan Allen fought someone like that in Sean Strickland. He got knocked the fuck out. Now, obviously, since then, Brendan Allen has improved tremendously. He's gone on a very, very strong win streak. He just beat Chris Curtis, a guy that beat him prior. And yeah, he's got a lot of momentum on his side, but I will say the fight with Chris Curtis was good, but I wasn't really impressed by Brendan Allen, to be honest, because Brendan Allen, about the third to the fourth round, the guy was hope shooting. The guy was like, I do not want to be on the feet with this guy, with Chris Curtis. Nassourdine Imavov is just a blueprint of the same kind of fighter. You don't want to be on the feet with a guy like that, and hope shooting against a guy like Imavov, who is good with his sprawls, has a good ground game in general, and it's just harder to reach. I think that's where it's a big issue for Brendan Allen. I'm just not really sure like how he can really emphasize a good game in terms of taking Imavov down. I just don't think he has the pure strength there to get Imavov out. And Imavov has just faced better competition overall coming up to this fight. I mean, look what he did against Cannonier. He took Cannonier out. And Cannonier is a guy that beat Sean Strickland controversially, but still, it just shows that Imavov is more so ready for this opportunity. And that's where, honestly, I think in that 3-round fight, I think he is going to get the unanimous decision win here. I just think he's going to be able to keep Brendan Allen at bay, not let Allen get to the ground where he needs the fight. And yeah, I think Imavov will be able to coast through the second and third round, especially to get the decision win here. Now, not counting out Allen at all, obviously if Allen gets this to the ground, he has without a doubt got the advantage, and he is very tricky. He's very good at finding, you know, the tiniest of holes to secure, you know, taking the back or just finding a very good advantageous position to slide into full mount. He's very good at finding those little holes. And Nassourdine Imavov, you know, he's good on the ground, but he is someone that could definitely have those holes. But yeah, I'm sticking with the point that Imavov is not going to be someone that Brendan Allen is going to be taking down all over the place, and that's where Imavov on the feet is most likely going to be having a field day. And moving on to the main event, Renato, let me tell you something, Moicano versus Benoit Saint Denis. This is going to be a good fight. I'm very, very keen for this. Definitely one of the best matchups they really could have made at this point, especially for the both of them, because Benoit Saint Denis fighting someone like Moicano, who is a very similar stylistic fighter to him, and that is getting name value. Moicano is doing a fantastic job with his publicity. The guy is, well, he not only TKOing bloody Jacqueline Turner, but he's also, you know, just really building himself up in terms of, you know, Show Me the Money podcast. You know, he's doing interviews with like MMA Guru. He's doing a lot of things outside to really build up his personality. And not to mention his bloody post-fight speeches on the mic are absolutely, you know, God-worthy. They're so funny. And yeah, he's just got a lot of stock there, which Benoit Saint Denis needs someone like that after fighting someone like Dustin Poirier and getting absolutely ransacked in that fight and taking away all his hype. Benoit Saint Denis needs the redemption, and there's no better place, no better time, no better opponent than Renato Moicano while he's got this hype around him in France after that Poirier loss. Like, this is the perfect opportunity for Benoit Saint Denis, but at the same time for Renato Moicano fighting an arguable boogeyman of that division and possibly beating him. Moicano gets the fights that he wants. If he beats a killer like Benoit Saint Denis, and has, obviously, without a doubt, he will have a great post-fight speech. That's pushing him up. He will get the Paddy Pimblett fight that he wants. He will be able to do that. He could get anyone. I mean, you know, Charles Oliveira, not so easy. He could still get him. Honestly, he has his options there. They both have a very good opportunity. Now, looking at the matchup itself, very, very identical statistics physically. You know, obviously, for both 5'11", 1 inch reach difference going to Benoit Saint Denis. Benoit Saint Denis definitely much more of a problem on the feet. Renato Moicano obviously TKOing Jalen Turner. I wouldn't say that that's, you know, giving hope for getting Benoit Saint Denis out of there, to be honest, because Renato Moicano did that against Jalen Turner, who was inept on the ground. If Renato Moicano somehow gets Benoit Saint Denis to the ground, Benoit Saint Denis knows without a doubt what to do on the ground. And the issue with Benoit, honestly, statistics or not, is he's just such a dog. The guy, you know, he clearly, obviously, is in the army, in the military, whatever it was. He just has that persona. He has that mindset. He will dig deep. He will go to the world's end to get that win. I mean, look at his fight against Eliseo Dulesky dos Santos. My God, holy shit. He took so much damage and he still made it out of there. Now, looking at him losing to Dustin Poirier, obviously that could be a big tell. Is like, oh, is his career just going to go downhill from here? And is Moicano actually just going to destroy him? That's a possibility. But Benoit Saint Denis doesn't have the physical issue against Moicano that he did against Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier's got hands with bloody bricks in them, and Moicano doesn't. Now, Moicano obviously is a very, very good submission artist, but so is Benoit Saint Denis. Benoit Saint Denis is very good when it comes to the ground game, and I think they cancelled each other out. Honestly, if I was going to go one way, I would go Moicano. I will say that, to be honest. He's very good with his control. He's just very good. Like, he's just a veteran. You know, he's very good with his control, very good at, you know, timing his transitions well, you know, against powerful guys on the feet. I mean, you look what he did to Drew Dober, completely drowned him out and took any threat away from him. But Benoit is just not the same guy, and Benoit, I honestly think, with it being a 5-round fight, I think Benoit is going to be able to find that opportunity to get the KO TKO win. He's got the chip on his shoulder from Dustin Poirier. He's in France. This is his moment to come back. And a guy like Benoit Saint Denis, I feel like he's just got a bit of main character plot armor energy. I think he is going to be able to get this one done by KO TKO. It's going to have to probably be early, because if one of these guys gets tired, they are fucked. Like, if one of them are tired and the other one is fine, it's not good. It's not looking good. And honestly, even though I'm taking Benoit Saint Denis here, I think Moicano is probably honestly going to have the better gas tank out of the two of them. So if it gets to the later rounds, I'm going to be more and more worried. I'm going to say that. And Moicano 8-1 with decisions. It's a tell there. It's clear. The statistics back it up. He is a fighter that can definitely carry through those later rounds. You know, he's composed. You look at him against Rafael dos Anjos. He's had experience. But I honestly do think that Benoit is going to be able to shut down the show earlier. And it's going to pump him straight into the top 10. He's probably going to get like a Mateusz Gamrot or something like that, to be honest. Maybe a Dan Hooker. Who knows? But yeah, Moicano, I love him to death. He is a fantastic fighter. And honestly, if he wins, I would love him to win. Prediction or not, I don't care. They're both good fighters. And yeah, I do see Benoit Saint Denis just taking this one by that KO TKO, being 5 rounds, and him just having the more well-rounded arsenal overall with that KO power threat. Now, moving on to the Fight Card Awards, kicking it off with Fight of the Night. I am giving it to Joanderson Brito versus William Gomis. Is there really much I need to say here? Like, these guys are the up-and-comers of that 145 division, and it's fantastic we do get to see them fight, but it's also sad that we have to see one of them drop down. And unfortunately, I think Gomis is going to be the one dropping down in his home turf. I just think Joanderson Brito is built for the top 15. He's definitely at least a top 10 level fighter if he keeps on going the way he's going. And if we look at William Gomis and his striking style, his very clean kickboxing, very clean, accurate striking overall, against a guy like Joanderson Brito, who has the power, like Gomis does as well, but obviously Brito has that power. He has a submission threat there. He's just very aggressive, very hungry. It's just going to be a very, very good fight, let's be honest here. And moving on to upset of the night, I'm giving it to Ivan Erslan, because obviously you look at Ion Cutelaba, he is the guy that has a lot of UFC experience. He's fought very good names as well. And Ivan Erslan, he's never been in the UFC before. He's the new kid on the block fighting the UFC veteran. But I think he's just got the opportunity there with Ion Cutelaba's lack of fight IQ. I think if it really gets down to that point where Cutelaba just gets caught up in his own head, Ivan Erslan's got the golden opportunity to knock his block off. And honestly, I think it's going to be the upset as him as the underdog, and I think he's going to take that opportunity. And moving on to fighter to watch. Now, this has never been this hard for a fight card, for predictions that I've done, because there are so many to choose from. I mean, we've got pretty much every single fight on this card has a fighter to watch that we need to see, all the way back from Cornolle and Oki, all the way up to, you know, Gomis, Brito, and who I'm giving it to, Oumar Sy or Sy, whichever way you want to put it. Oumar Sy, he is a beast. This guy is going to, I'm confident this guy's going to be in the top 15 at some point. He's not old. He's very, very well-rounded. He's got clear momentum. He's 10-0, 4-0 with KOs, 4-0 with submissions, all of them by rear naked choke. Very good wrestling, good takedown entries, very fast on his feet, and he has the longest reach in that division. What happened the last time we saw someone have the longest reach in the division? We got John Jones absolutely basically killing everyone. So Oumar Sy, 100% keep a lookout for this guy, and I think he is going to put on a show this weekend. And moving on to finish of the night, I am giving it to the home crowd redemption ready Benoit Saint Denis. I think that this guy, he's going to get it done. And as hard as it is, I think, honestly, Moicano, without a doubt, absolutely no slouch, and could really just use his experience to really find holes in Benoit Saint Denis' game. Makes it a sketchy pick, but if that's all the more reason why, if I think that Benoit Saint Denis does get it done, it's just even more risk to reward. Benoit Saint Denis, main event, takes out Renato Moicano. He is a crowd favorite at the moment in his hometown, coming off the Dustin Poirier loss. What else do we need? Benoit Saint Denis, finish of the night. Let's get it. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more MMA based content, definitely check out my video on the screen of the most controversial fighters in UFC history that involves Sean Strickland, involves Nate Diaz, involves the infamous Kimbo Slice. Definitely a great video to get more insight into those types of fighters. And honestly, thank you for all the support. Please like, comment, subscribe. It really goes a long way, and I love chatting to you guys. And as always, I will catch you in the next one.